Hello, this is Eric Bosman with Kimley Horn, and thank you for taking this time to review the Phase 1 Public Input Meeting presentation that was delivered to citizens of Fulton County between June 21st and August 14th of 2017. In 2016, Fulton County voters approved a 3/4 cent sales tax for transportation purposes. The TSPLOST project list for Fulton County outside of the city of Atlanta included improvements to address roadway congestion, operations, maintenance, and safety, as well as pedestrian, bicycle, and bridge enhancements. As city and county leaders reviewed and discussed the TSPLOST project list with citizens, it was regularly noted that the list did not include enhancement or expansion to the county's transit services. Throughout the fall and winter, leaders discussed the need to develop a Fulton County-based transit plan to better understand the need and potential for expanded transit services in both South and North Fulton County. And in the spring of 2017, city and county leaders approached the Atlanta Regional Commission to help fund and manage this Fulton County Transit Master Plan in order to create that community-based blueprint for the future. The Fulton County Transit Master Plan is unfolding in 3 phases of work. The first phase has included a development of a community vision throughout the county and a review of existing transit conditions. Beginning in late April, the team reviewed a series of community development, economic development, and transportation plans for both Fulton County and the 14 municipalities outside of the city of Atlanta, as well as conducted interviews with the leadership of each of the 14 cities in order to understand the particular needs, opportunities, and challenges of each partner city. Additionally, each municipality was provided the opportunity to host a public information and input meeting, and 12 such meetings were held throughout the county between June 21st and August 14th. The process has now moved into Phase 2, scenario development. This phase has 2 major tasks of work. The first task is that the consulting team is reviewing 16 different corridors that connect all of our major job and employment centers in Fulton County to identify which short-term and long-term modes of transit might make the most sense and provide the greatest degree of mobility within our region. The second major task is the development of a financial model that looks at a series of funding mechanisms in order to make sure that we can afford the vision that is set by the community and by our city and county leaders. A second round of public input meetings will be held in August and September for the public to review these early alternatives and to provide input into which corridors are the highest priority. A third phase of work in November and December will include refinement of the Transit Master Plan and agreement upon a framework for future transit expansion and enhancements within Fulton County. A series of public open houses will be held in November and December to continue to gather public input regarding the best options for the future of Fulton County. The general public has 3 different ways to participate within this process. The first is to participate in the public meetings that were held in round 1 in June, July, and early August, as well as a second round of public meetings that will be held in August and September, and a limited number of public open houses in November and December as the framework of the plan is coming together. Additionally, citizens may participate through Fulton County's online website, on the Transit Master Plan page, and through a variety of presentations, information, and surveys that are provided there. The team's also conducting special outreach to populations that have a particular need to use and access transit, including senior citizens, the disabled, the visually impaired, and other special needs populations. A series of task force interviews and meetings will be held throughout the process in order to make sure that we hear and understand the needs and perspectives of those citizens that have a greater need to use transit on a daily basis. As we've met with city leaders and the general public, time and again there are 3 major objectives for why we need to examine expanded transit services within Fulton County. The first is to provide citizens with greater access to employment centers, economic opportunity, and regional destinations. The second is to identify how and where expanded transit services can be a catalyst for economic development, investment, and placemaking within our county. And the third is to identify where expanded transit services could provide faster, more reliable mobility as an alternate to being stuck on our major highways during peak congestion hours, not just in the short term, but even more so in the long term as our region continues to grow and expand. As we've met with cities and citizens throughout the first phase of work, a series of primary corridors have been identified to focus our effort as part of this transit master plan. In South Fulton, we will specifically be studying I-85, South Fulton Parkway, Highway 29 Roosevelt Highway, which connects the cities of East Point, College Park, Union City, Fairburn, and Palmetto, the Norfolk Southern Line that runs from the city of College Park to Clayton County through the city of Hapeville, and Highway 74, where there is a large concentration of employers that are having challenges recruiting and retaining employees due to a lack of reliable transportation. As we've conducted the first round of public meetings in South Fulton County, Flat Shoals Road, Fulton Industrial Boulevard, and Camp Creek Parkway have also been identified as corridors of interest. In North Fulton County, the primary corridors for study include Georgia 400, I-285, Holcomb Bridge Road, Old Milton Parkway, and Highway 141 through the city of Johns Creek. As we've conducted public information and input meetings in North Fulton County, areas along Windward Parkway, Highway 9, and Abernathy Johnson Ferry Road have also been identified as corridors of interest. In addition to looking at these major corridors, the study also has the ability to make improvements to existing transit services. Cities such as Sandy Springs, College Park, and East Point all have existing MARTA rail stations that have a variety of needs in order to be more accessible and better used by the public. We're also looking at routes where there are existing bus stops today, but where shelters and adequate pedestrian crossings may not be present in order for citizens to reach those bus stops and use existing bus services safely. We also have the ability to look at upgrades to park and ride lots along our major highways, particularly I-85 in South Fulton and Georgia 400 in North Fulton. And we're also considering a variety of different technologies, both in terms of transit technology, but also technology that is needed along our major corridors in order to facilitate higher capacity and higher efficiency vehicles, not just for transit, but for the public as well. Throughout the master plan, the team has been identifying a series of major activity centers within our county, including major commercial centers, employment centers, and population centers. Through a review of existing documents and with the help of the general public, those activity centers have been identified and mapped through a series of dots on the map before you. As part of the Transit Master Plan process, we will be looking at what modes of transit could be most helpful in terms of connecting these major activity centers together. And as evidenced on the map, those are the same corridors mentioned previously, including I-285, Georgia 400, Holcomb Bridge Road, Old Milton Parkway, and Highway 141 in the city of Johns Creek. A similar analysis was completed for the 8 cities in South Fulton County utilizing existing planning documents. As shown on the screen, a series of employment, activity, and commercial centers were identified throughout the county with a series of yellow circles and connected by the major corridors mentioned earlier and that are the primary focus of this study. Most notably, South Fulton Parkway, Highway 29 Roosevelt Highway, and I-85. To access additional information regarding the Fulton County Transit Master Plan, please visit our website at www.fultoncountyga.gov/TMP Transit Master Plan-home. On the website, you will be able to find additional materials, maps, surveys, and all of the times and dates for the second round of public meetings in August and September to be held throughout the county. Thank you for taking the time to be invested in Fulton County, and we look forward to seeing you soon as part of the Transit Master Plan process.